Utah State University, and today we're going to be making the sweet potato cookies from the CSFP cookbook. Really fun and simple recipe with just a couple of ingredients to give you a little sweet treat. So to start, we're going to do what you do at the beginning of most baking recipes, is we're going to preheat our oven. This back here is the oven that we have in our kitchen here. It's very different from the one that you'll likely have in your own kitchen, but you're going to preheat it to 350 degrees.
So we're going to first start with the sweet potatoes. We bought sweet potatoes in syrup, so I'm going to go ahead and drain and rinse them. You don't have to rinse them, but since they're in syrup, I just want to get some of the extra sugar out by rinsing. You can also buy them in light syrup if you want as well. So here I'm going to just drain it in the can. You can get a colander and use a strainer and colander to drain it and rinse it, but I find it so much easier, less dishes, and I just add a little bit of water and kind of shake it around. So some of the benefits of sweet potatoes, they're full of a lot of different vitamins, and they also have pretty good fiber content as well. And fiber helps with your gut health and just a lot of different things in making sure that your body's functioning the way it's supposed to. But we also really like sweet potatoes because one of the things that they're high in is vitamin A, and vitamin A is really good for your eyes. So once you've got the sweet potatoes drained and rinsed, we're just going to put them in a bowl and make sure we get all of them out, and then we're just going to mash them up. And you want to make sure that you get them at the right consistency, which is about the consistency of a pumpkin puree. So just a lot of arm strength here. You know, take your stress out on some sweet potatoes. And it does take a while. I'm just using a fork. Sometimes you can use a potato masher or a ricer, you know, whatever you have on hand. I like to use a fork because it gets a little bit more finesse in the mashing. So you don't want any big chunks. So I have a couple big chunks over here, but you just want to make sure it's nice and smooth. I think that's looking about good. So about right there is where you want the consistency to be at.
Now that we've mashed our sweet potatoes, we've measured out half of a cup into this bowl, and we're gonna add the rest of our ingredients. So the first ingredient that we have is quick oats, which look like this. And I already measured out a cup of them. So I'm gonna add those to my bowl. These are gonna provide the structure to the cookies. We used quick oats. There's different kinds of oats, and you're welcome to try a different kind of oats, but quick oats are already steamed and a little bit processed, and so they are a better binding agent for something like cookies. Next, we're going to add some raisins, a fourth of a cup of raisins. Raisins are also full of fiber, and I forgot to mention that the oats are a great source of fiber too, and as we already mentioned a little bit earlier, fiber is really great for your gut health and your digestive system, and for helping keep you fuller for longer. So I'm gonna add these. You're also welcome to add anything that sounds good into the cookies instead, like nuts or chocolate chips, whatever sounds best. So, but we're using raisins today. And then finally, we're going to add just a couple of tablespoons, 3 tablespoons of sugar. The sugar is just going to add a little bit of sweetness, although we are also getting sweetness from the raisins and from the sweet potatoes. And just to mention here that we're only using a little bit of sugar. They should still be plenty sweet, and the recommendation is to limit added sugar intake. So that's why we only need a little bit for these, but I mean, you have to have sugar to have a sweet treat, right? So I'm just going to mix these together, and then we'll scoop them up.
All right, so once you have everything mixed together, you wanted the consistency to where it sticks together and doesn't fall apart when you form little balls. We're gonna go ahead and make about 12 cookies, and I'm gonna show you a couple different methods that you can use. I like to put gloves on because I don't like to get my hands all messy, but you just get a handful and you just make it into a little ball, and see how it kind of like sticks together, like it holds together, it doesn't fall apart. You can just set that down. Another method is if you have 2 spoons, you can take a couple of spoons and you just like push them together like this. And this one, it forms more of like an oval shape versus a ball, but it still works, and you can just kind of like just scrape it off. Another method is if you have an ice cream scoop or a cookie scoop, you can go ahead and just use that, push it up against the edge of the bowl, scrape any extra off, and then you just scoop it right onto the pan. And we lined this with parchment paper just to help with the baking process.
So here's our cookies all balled up and ready to go in the oven. We forgot to mention in the last one, but if your cookies turn out too dry and they don't hold together, feel free to add a little bit more sweet potato to get them to the right consistency so they can form nice little balls like this. So we're just gonna toss them in the oven. And bake them.
So this is the finished product of the cookies. They hold their shape pretty well. They don't flatten like normal cookies. We pulled them out. We cooked them for about 11 minutes. And so you can kind of see they started to brown, and that was just the perfect time.
Enjoy!